I'd like to thank first Lisa's parents, Donna and Jake's parents, Deb and Rich, for just throwing us a shindig. And if you don't know me, my name's Andy. I met Jake in a picturesque little slice of America we call Schenectady, New York. If you've never been there, I applaud you. It is not a good place to go. He lived next door to me my freshman year in college. He then got in a fight with his roommate and switched rooms, but it was a good few months that he lived next to me. After freshman year, he invited me to summer camp, where we spent 4 summers together as counselors. And then we grew up, we got jobs, we lived in Boston together, and we moved to New York together in 2004, and we started dating girls. At that time, Jake met Lisa.
29.
And I remember the first time they met, and I'll tell you the story really quickly. He had been talking to her, but he had never met her, and he wanted me to accompany him to a bar for their first meeting. And I joined when he told me Lisa had some friends for me. We arrived at the bar, and he saw Lisa, and he immediately started talking to her. And for the next 45 minutes, he talked to her. He didn't go to the bathroom, he didn't get another drink, he just sat at this bar and talked to her. And I sat to the side and wondered where all these friends were. They never came. That night, I knew something was going on with him. And a couple of months later, he's seriously dating her. She's going out with us. A few months later, as Rich said, she was going to the Cape with us. I used Jake and Lisa for rides to the Cape because I live pretty close to them and I don't have a car. And she was hanging out with us. We were going out to bars. Soon enough, they were engaged. Here we are today. But I knew that first night there was something going on. He had a certain glow about him. Not to be confused with the fluorescent orange glow from his hair. So I soon, after getting to know Lisa, she's a lovely person, I realized that she really is a great match for my friend Jake. So I came up with a few reasons why she was a great match for him, and before you knew it, I had 10. I figured, what a great idea to do a top 10 list. Here we go. First, number 10, her hair. As I mentioned, Jake has red hair. What you might not know is that 1.4% of the world has red hair, according to Wikipedia. Which means that 98.6% doesn't. So Lisa's a great match for Jake because she's one of that 98.6%. If they have kids, they won't have 2 orange hair chromosomes matching with 3 God knows what. Number 9. Lisa, like Jake, has a few dumb injuries. I'll start with Jake's. He injured his ACL. I believe he tore playing intramural football. Then, a few months later, there was a little water balloon fight. Jake just sort of forgot about the surgery, rehab, because he didn't want to get hit with that water balloon. So he sprinted after whoever was throwing it out and retore the same ACL. And had to go through all the rehab again. Lisa, about a year ago, I spotted her with a little cast on her wrist. I couldn't figure out how that happened. Turned out she was trying to balance herself on one of Jake's little things called a balance board. But not a lot of balance there. She ended up falling, breaking her wrist, needing surgery, getting rehab. Didn't re-injure it like Jake, so that's good. Number 8, Lisa's from Philadelphia, not New York. I see this strictly for sports. Because if Lisa's from New York and we're being from Boston, there would be some issues. Philadelphia and Boston are sort of sports friends. The only time they compete is the Celtics versus the Sixers, but that's really not much of a competition. Celtics conference gave me 2. Number 7, maturity. Jake, he lacks maturity. He likes flatulence, he likes to discuss it. He one time threw a football as hard as he can through my window at Coolidge Corner for no apparent reason. One time we almost got fired from camp for swearing. A bunch of 10-year-old girls. His nickname when I met him was B-Man. And that's that stood for Buttman. It was also B-Man. It was also Boogaloo, excuse me. In the mid to late 90s, as Emily pointed out last night, he briefly sported the tongue ring. Here's tongue. That guy. Pretty incredible. Number 6. Jake has had a worldly. Since meeting Lisa, he's traveled to Thailand, Dubai, Mexico, and Cambodia. Before I met Lisa, we were traveling the Upper East Side for a street fair. Number 5. Lisa's name is Lisa Luskin. What a great name. I'm not. If you wanted a career in adult entertainment, you wouldn't have to change your name. That joke was told to me by one of Lisa's friends in the elevator earlier. So Number 4. She isn't obsessed with deals and points like Jake is. Jake loves credit card points. When he opens up the computer, it goes to slickdeals.net. And he's probably figuring out a way to take everyone's points from staying at this hotel. Parlay it into free meals. Jake needed a little metrosexualing it up. Since he moved to New York, I don't see as many t-shirts, as many baggy jeans. He went on this Lindsay Lohan-esque weight loss situation. He's very skinny now. He wears tight black shirts. He wears hair product. He only uses wooden hangers, not use a wire hanger. I don't know why. That's one of those weird quirks. Number 2, and my favorite one, Lisa, unlike Jake, has some consistency in her life. Jake, he started out at Union College, where I said I met him. And then he transferred to University of Vermont. And then he realized he doesn't like University of Vermont. He transferred back to Union. Most people call this a term abroad, but Jake had to actually physically apply to the school, do all the financial work, and go back. But that's not all. He went to Camp Kenwood for 3 years, and went to Camp Tuckahoe for 3 years to pursue his baseball career. Then he went back to Kenwood for another 2 years. Then when he graduated college, he lived in New York City for 3 years. Then he moved back to Boston. Then he moved back to New York City again. Lisa went to Penn State, consistent, moved to New York after college. 7 years later, here she is. Number 1 thing, this is a sweet, sentimental note we end this on. They're really very good people. Jake is probably my best friend in the world. If there's anything that, there's nothing he wouldn't do for me. Lisa's a fantastic choice of woman. I like everything about her. I like the fact that she puts up with Jake. I like the fact that she makes fun of Jake. And my dad told me that you never find true happiness in life until you find that one woman to settle down with. You make her your wife. And then you really start to miss it.
Neil Gray.
Jake, Lisa, I'm really happy for you guys. I think this has been a great night, and I hope you guys have a lifetime of success. So please toast your glass, which I don't have here. Wish you luck, and have a great night. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, buddy. Well done, big guy.